AMOLED displays always give a depth of colour and clarity, and this 1.64-inch display by Waveshare doesn't disappoint. The software libraries and examples are not quite as good as some of the other boards that I've looked at though. Let me explain. Hi, I'm John, your concierge to the world of the Raspberry Pi Pico, Pico 2, Robotics, IoT and other slices of tech. If that sounds like your kind of adventure, and you're here so I'm sure it does, then hit that subscribe button and join the community. I've looked at quite a few Waveshare RP2350 based displays, and it's amazing the variety of sizes and connectivity available on them. This is another great piece of hardware here for consideration on your projects, especially where the clarity and depth of colour of AMOLED is beneficial. Although you can drive this screen directly from the low-level drivers, I'm going to take a look at the LVGL library in my example, which has already been ported to this board, and there are examples from Waveshare. If this video sparks your inspiration or helps your projects, consider dropping me a tip using that super thanks button below the video, or alternatively, there's a payment link in the description. These help me keep the channel running and ideas coming to you. So please subscribe and like the video. This video is sponsored by WolfSSL. I've shown in my previous videos how easy it is to hack the flash memory of these devices. And of course, if you connect them to the internet, how you need to secure your communication. WolfSSL libraries are a great partner in both open source and commercial models, securing your application and securing your communication. Go check them out today. So let's have a look at our box here from Waveshare. And inside there really is what we would expect, just the display, and that gives us a 29 by 44 millimeter AMOLED display with 280 by 456 pixels. So that's quite a lot of pixels in quite a small space, all driven by our RP2350. So this little module is 29 by 44 millimeters in size, and you've crammed into them 280 by 456 pixels. So that's quite a good density, and with an AMOLED display driven by that CO5300 display driver. And there is a touch IC as well, so that we can actually read touches off the screen. Now, of course, there's also a QMI 8658, which is an IMU unit, so we can actually measure its acceleration against gravity, etc., if you have that sort of application in mind. There are two switches, boot cell and reset, of course. Now, this is an RP2350 board, so boot cell is reusable as an input switch if we choose to do so. It uses USB-C, though of course that's USB 1.1, and there is also a micro SD card there, and that's got both 4-pin connectivity, so it can read data off of an SD card at a reasonable rate, and you can drive this from a battery. But I think the real power here, from hardware connectivity point of view, is the fact that we actually have two banks of 11 pins, header pins, which have got a great deal of GPIO and power capability on them. So there's a lot of connectivity there. And from a fixing point of view, we've got M2 screws as well to secure it in place. So there's easily enough connectivity here to connect up something like an RM2 to it to give it Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capability. Now, making the software all hang together to allow a full IP stack, that might be challenging. I think I'd have to have a look at that. What you haven't got, I'm afraid, as with most Waveshare boards, is SWD. So we can't use a Raspberry Pi debug probe to flash or debug our code. Now, if you want to use this as your development board, that is a bit of a problem, I think, and something I hope Waveshare will start to address in future products. So Waveshare are kind enough to ship some demos with the product. So this is running LVGL by the looks of it, and we can see the accelerometer data. We can play with some touch interactions to change the brightness on our AMOLED screen. Yeah, so a little demo, and we can see the code for this, of course, as well. And this second demo actually is more LCD specific. So again, we've got accelerometer data being displayed there. But we can also switch it to show some graphics and indeed show and draw on the screen. So the demos have all, of course, been written using the libraries that they ship with the board. So we've got really three categories of libraries, I think. You've got the main board library, which unfortunately on this contains 5 separate libraries. I'll go into those in a little more in a second. We've also got LVGL for our graphics if we want to run GUIs, and you've got a SD card driver demo as well, which includes some special libraries for us to be able to read an SD card. So the board, well, isn't really a single library on this. In fact, it's 5 separate libraries. We've got a low-level AMOLED driver library, which itself requires a QSBI PIO library in order to talk to the hardware. We've got a configuration for that AMOLED, and then we've got the QMI 8658, which is our IMU unit as a library, and the touch chip as a library. So it's kind of a complicated set of libraries, and unfortunately that complication sort of inserts itself into the demos and makes you have to think a little bit about what's going on. I think I've got a better structure for this, but because of this slight confusion of the number of libraries, there's always going to be some challenge working with this board, I think, until you get used to it anyway. The version of LVGL that's shipped with this is a local copy of A10. I think you could replace this easily with a copy from GitHub. I suspect you could also upgrade this to a more recent or the latest version of the version 8 codebase, which is 8.4, and I suspect that would work actually. Now there is LVGL version 9 versions available. We're up to 9.3. That has not been ported, and that would be a more challenging exercise to port that to run on this board. The FAT file system example includes a lot of libraries, and it is very much a standalone text-only example. I'd like to see some more examples of that using the graphical display, perhaps pulling PNG images and displaying them on the screen. That's not what's there, but there is enough there to actually work from and to build your own, though I must admit I haven't tried that. So of course I've built an example using this board, and I'm sharing it here on GitHub. Only one at the moment. I might do some more work on this board when I get a little more time. But at the moment what I've done is copy over my demo from some of the other boards with this rotating logo. So this is my example project off of GitHub, and I've put the libraries that have been shared by our friends at Waveshare over here. Now they're all underneath this RP2350 Amoled 1.64 folder, and the reason I did that is firstly I want to change how my code sees the libraries a little bit from the examples, and secondly I wanted to just separate the libraries that Waveshare has shipped with me from the other things that I may add in the future, because this is an experiment project, so I'm probably going to do some more stuff on this. So in the libraries we've got that AMOLED driver actually for the display, the configuration driver to configure how that display is working, the driver for the IMU, a QSPI driver which is being used by the AMOLED display in order to drive the display itself, and the touch screen driver. There's also the version 8.1 LVGL library there, That's the library that's actually shipped as source code by Waveshare, rather than one that I've pulled directly from GitHub. I've put it in here because actually one of my later experiments I want to do, and haven't got around to yet, is actually to make sure that I can actually link this with direct version from LVGL, and indeed try and move that along from 8.1 to 8.4. I think that should work fine. I've certainly done that trick on a number of other boards, and I've got away with it really nicely. So that's something I will want to try and do later, hence why I put that one in there. So when we go into the experiments, and my first experiment, which is the Dr Jon EA example, it won't surprise you that I have my LVGL.CMake file, which is basically going to pick up that LVGL library I've just shown you. And we've also got one other library being defined here called the RP2350 Amoled 1.64 library, and that's going to pick in everything else. So that's got the AMOLED, the config, the IMU, that QSPI driver and the touch driver all built into the one. Now this is really different from how our friends at Waveshare have provided it, where they've actually split these out into separate libraries as the CMake is linking, and I don't see how that really helps us particularly. In my view, it's simpler if we just build this all into one library, and that's what I've done here. One little thing on this that I fell over is Pico multi-core is required as a library for this to link to, and that's because it's going to end up running up touch as a core code as a second core function running on the core 1. It's kind of unusual. It's the first of these boards that I've seen do that trick, and I don't know. I'm not sure I entirely like it, because it restricts me of what else I could possibly run on that board. But it is interesting, but just to be aware that's what it's doing. The other bit I've done is there is some port code and configuration code we need for LVGL, which basically sticks LVGL onto this display. Now that was in some interesting different sort of places in their examples, and what I've done is I've refactored that all down into a port folder and into the LVGL port. So that's where we've got the configuration for LVGL, which I use quite a lot when you go and change font sizes and things and want to add in font sizes. And we've also got these two files in here, which actually are what is connecting the display to the port. And the really big important function we're going to run in here is LVGL init, and that's what's actually going to just set up, make sure that we've got all the buffers set up in order to actually run LVGL, and for those buffers to actually sync through in order to write data straight onto my display. So main, what's in main then, and how does that actually work? Well, this is very much like a lot of the other Waveshare LVGL example projects. We're basically just going to initialize all of our peripherals and our display board, and then initialize LVGL, and then we can run up a widgets class, and it's that widgets class that's going to do all the work. And that widget class over here is basically defining a whole set of structures, a whole set of arcs in fact, that I'm going to go and manipulate on screen in order to give a little bit of a display function. And this example is a little modified, but tinily modified from examples I've used previously. So what I'm basically going to set up is I'm going to set up a tile on the screen, and on that tile I'm going to then place a set of, well, I'm going to place a label saying Dr Jon EA, And as this is a bit of a rectangular sort of display, I'm going to place that at the bottom of the display. So I'm going to give its position to be offset by 100 there from center. And then I'm also going to then create a whole set of arcs, and they're actually going to be on the top of this display. And they are going to be at different sizes going in, and then I'm going to animate them really. And this is, as I've set up on a number of other displays, it's a really simple example, and I'm using a timer which is this mechanism here, in order to actually animate it. So it is quite a simple example, but it shows that I can get this example structure and these libraries into a form that I think is more usable and reusable, and get it all to actually work. Now there's lots of things I haven't tested in this. I haven't looked at any buttons or interaction controls, and that part of that worries me a little bit, because I haven't really looked at this mechanism over in the port code, where this is the core 1 entry code. So this is what's running on that second core of the processor, and this is where it's actually doing all of the stuff for the touch. Now I haven't looked at that. I haven't looked at what's going on there and whether that's actually coming through properly. So there is a bit of stuff that I just haven't got to yet. I probably will come back to it. I really like this display, so I'm sure I will. This is another great piece of hardware. The header pin connectivity makes this ideal for breadboard based projects or to connect directly to a PCB. Plenty of GPIOs are exposed for your own projects too. The software examples are integrated into LVGL, giving us a great framework to build on for our own interfaces. The way the libraries though are split into so many little libraries for one board, I think makes using this a little harder than it needs to be. This then gets reflected in complex examples, which are hard to quickly use as reference material. It is also slightly unusual that the touch interface is running on the second core of the RP2350. Whether you could change that, I don't know at the moment. This could reduce your opportunities with some projects. If this video helps you out or sparks ideas for your own projects, consider supporting me with the super thanks button below the video, or there's a payment link in the description. I'm saving these up to get myself over to the open source conference in San Francisco in 2026, and every contribution brings me one step closer, and I'd love to meet you there too. Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please do give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Why not check out my other Waveshare board reviews too? Catch you on the next one. Bye bye.